7 reasons an alien encounter would be bad for humans. Number 1. We would be to them as rats are to us. The difference genetically between a chimpanzee and a human is astonishingly small. Yet that difference is also the difference between composing symphonies and flinging fecal matter at each other for entertainment. The gap between us and an alien species could be vastly greater than that between us and chimpanzees. One could envision us and our intelligence being equivalent to a being in a 2D universe like Flatland. And an alien we encounter could be like a 3D being from a higher dimension. Would we even be able to comprehend such a thing? No, we probably couldn't. It would be like nothing we can even wrap our minds around. We don't think much on Earth about, say, plowing over an anthill or running a boat through sea life we consider insignificant, like plankton, for example. What if that's the same attitude an alien civilization takes towards us? To put this in perspective, if they can get to us by interplanetary travel, then they're clearly going to be more advanced than us in a lot of ways, since we couldn't do the same and go to them. Number 2, piggybacking off that final point, our first encounter could go like almost all human first encounters. What do I mean by that? How many first encounters in human history has the technologically inferior society came out unscathed? Few and far between. So if they're anything like us, or worse, we are taking a huge risk by assuming they're going to treat us well, or even better than complete indifference. Expansionism usually equals disaster for the conquered or weaker societies. How often has a human society expanded via benevolence? Take the Greeks, the Romans, the Huns, the Mongols, British, French, etc. Even if they come with the best intentions, the conquered territory or first encounter usually results in eventual disaster for the weaker technological civilization. Even with the best intentions on Earth, we still struggle to help those we are trying to help. Oftentimes, when we try to help a country or make a situation better, we don't help at all. We just make the problem worse or make a different problem. So even if aliens do want to help us, is there any guarantee we don't end up worse off because of it? Perhaps we get technology we aren't yet ready to handle. It's not a hard situation to envision. Number 4. They shoot first, ask questions later. As in one of my previous videos, The Dark Forest, perhaps the reason we haven't seen evidence for life in the galaxy is because other species are smarter than we are and they don't willingly expose themselves. This theory, as mentioned, is called The Dark Forest. I'll include a link below for my previous video. Basically, in this theory, the galaxy is akin to a dark forest. And in a very game theory-like argument, the proper thing to do is to simply hide and or destroy any life you encounter. This argument comes from a pragmatic view that survival is the most important factor for any species, and that expansion and space is limited. So, there is no reason to risk survival by trying to communicate with other civilizations. The best move is to simply hide, and also, if capable, to exterminate any other life you can. After all, there's no way of knowing if this life may be hostile or not, or more technologically advanced than you are, or not. Liu Cixin, I hope I pronounced that right, his excellent trilogy, The Three-Body Problem, exemplifies this dark forest theory the best, in my view. And that is, not coincidentally, the title of the second book in the trilogy. Highly recommend reading it. So if this theory is the prevailing reality, we should probably be thinking twice about willingly exposing ourselves. We may be in a dark forest, and we have no way of knowing whether we will encounter a murderer, a nun, or an infant. So perhaps we should think again about launching signals and giving away our position, because what we're essentially doing is akin to lighting a bonfire and shooting flares into the air in this dark forest scenario. Maybe not the smartest thing. 5th, hostile machines. As much as we like to envision alien civilizations being nice and or even help us, as in, say, 2001, with the monolith and uplifting aliens is what a lot of people have coined the term, there is also the distinct possibility that they could be the exact opposite. If possible, I think few would argue that it is in theory much easier to send out self-replicating machines than to explore the universe as a biological organism. There are many types of machines we could encounter that wouldn't be looking out for our best interest. And again, if an alien species has the idea that its best chance of survival is to eliminate all other life it encounters, then we could find ourselves on the receiving end of what Fred Saberhagen, hope I pronounced that right, he named Berserker probes. Basically, these would be self-replicating probes that would simply sterilize any life they encountered. Some might scoff at the idea, but just as the universe is under no obligation to make sense to you, I also believe it's under no obligation to pass our human morals. After all, can you really argue with an alien species that we are for sure completely safe and harmless? No, our past dictates otherwise. Another possibility could be police probes. Probes that would basically try to keep any species it encounters within certain boundaries, so they wouldn't be a threat or a future threat. A third could be colonization probes. This could even tie into Berserker probes if they deemed it necessary to sanitize a potential planet they want to colonize beforehand. It's not hard to envision a machine that could construct sort of a data receiver that would upload intelligence from, say, its mother planet once the colonization is completed by the machines. Number 6, we have something they want. As has been pointed out before many times, this argument can seem to be weak because there is nothing we have that cannot be gotten elsewhere. But does that argument really get us off the hook? What if they do view us as ants and our presence irrelevant? It could be like a human being murdered, arguing in the movies, we've all seen it before in the movies, telling the killer, you don't have to do this. And of course, if the killer was thinking logically, a lot of times they don't have to do it. But the killer's brain may simply not work in the same way. Much in the same way an alien's brain maybe doesn't work in the same way. So we could tell them, no, you don't have to mine what we have, you don't have to take what we have, you can just get it here. They may not think the same way we think. So, what if they don't want to mine an asteroid for gold, for example, but would rather just take ours, or take both? Personally, I don't find this particular we have something they want argument very good, but I also don't fully buy the logic that they just simply think like we do and look somewhere else instead. That one doesn't follow the other. Maybe if they thought like we did, but there's no guarantee that's the case. Number 7, they need the space. They need the real estate. This can be a hard one to envision as time goes on because our increasing knowledge of exoplanets and the satellites we're sending, the telescopes into space, are finding more and more Earth-like exoplanets. But maybe Earth is somewhat unique, and other alien civilizations could value what it offers. This is probably the most Hollywood of all my reasons so far, but this is why I saved it for last. It's not impossible, which is why I included it. The stability Jupiter gives us, with its ability to vacuum up a lot of potential harmful space rocks, asteroid comets that could have hit us, the stability the moon gives our rotation, the composition of our atmosphere, the temperature on the planet, liquid water. There are many reasons Earth could be favorable to other species, or they could look on it with excited or prying eyes. We don't know exactly how common its attributes are, but this argument seems less and less convincing to me as time goes on, but it's still one I wanted to include. So, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. Patreon below. Please consider it a donation. And until next time, see ya.